Good evening, people. It's your boy Si, aka the Mancunian. At the moment, aka the Romany Gypsy, aka the Travelling Man, aka Mr. M6, aka Mr. A590, aka Mr. A595. Madness today. Sorry I'm getting this up so late. I thought I'd be doing it a lot earlier, but I don't know how many of you guys have been in the north of England today, but it's been like driving through Middle Earth. If anyone's got Noah's number in the phone, you know, your contacts, send it over to me please, because I definitely want in on that arc when it's finished. Bit of a problem for me. I'm just going to have to find somebody else called Simon from Manchester that's irritating as fuck with a massive head. That's going to be tricky. Well, I pray for the world that there's not more out there like me, but anyway, I digress. Let's crack on. Yesterday I put up my video about the Barcelona game and the analysis of the players there, so tonight I'm going to do one just looking at the entirety of pre-season, everybody that's took part. Gonna do it a little bit differently tonight, guys. Broadcasting from wet Newcastle. Bit of tombola, guys. How'd you like that? Bit of a raffle. I've just put all the players' names in there from pre-season on little bits of paper, so I'm just going to pull them out one at a time, see what happens. Rather than it being sort of scripted, we'll just, off the bat, let's just go for it. I've just got to be careful here because I've got a brew here as well, so I want to make sure I put my hand in the right cup. So let's crack on. It's my boy, Ainsley Maitland-Niles. I've enjoyed him this pre-season again, but I just enjoy watching him play. It just kills me watching it at right back. It just, you know, I said it in that video the other day. It just breaks my heart seeing him play there. Yeah, it just upsets me. You know, that Barcelona game, that first half, man, that was one of the best performances I've seen from an Arsenal player, just in general, in 45 minutes of God knows how many years. It felt like I was blown away. Like, I'm a big fan of him, and I know there's a really good player in there, or I believe there is. So for him to put it on the pitch like that for 45 minutes, it was like, yes, Ainsley. Because I know it's in there, I really do. And it's just, I just want to see him further up the pitch. And you know, that mistake, it ruined that game, because I just knew as soon as it happened and the own goal went in that maybe he was winning some people back over in that first half, and then when that happened they were just like, yeah, same old. Why, you know, people can't stomach Mustafi for those sort of things, but it's like I keep saying, guys, he's still a young lad. You know, he's took some knocks and come back. You know, he's playing in a position that isn't his position, and I can't keep reiterating this enough, that, you know, wherever you see his ideal position, it can't be right back. You know, because this last period where he's been playing there has been the only time in his career, so it's got to be midfield, box to box, defensive mid, winger, whatever you see it. But like I say, put any of the people in our squad in that position, in at right back, and tell me you wouldn't slate him more than you do Ainsley Maitland-Niles. And for me, for that reason, he's an absolute don, and I love him, and I hope he has a very long, wonderful career at the club. 7 out of 10 this pre-season for Ainsley. Yeah, I was going to give him 6.5, but that's a bit mean. Next one, Reiss Nelson. I've been impressed with him. I know some of you guys have been looking at him, and I think you were expecting quite a bit more. You know, and I've given my reasons. He's been away, he got injured. He's not had as much of a pre-season as everyone else because he was away on the England youth stuff. He's had no experience with Unai Emery, and you know, pretty much everyone else has. And I've seen glimpses of what I do think Reiss Nelson is, which is a much better than average winger. You know, I said the other day, I'm not sure he'll ever be world class, but I don't want to write him off yet. But that's writing him off for the height of success rather than being really negative and writing him off completely. yeah, I think he just needs a bit more time, and I think he'll grow into it this season, and I see him just getting stronger and stronger. And I just hope he can stay injury free and really solidify his place in the squad this year, and then I would like to see him go on and try and solidify a place in the first team next year. So yeah, it's been a 7 from me. Definitely, definitely. I've been really happy with him in pre-season. Not quite the finished article yet, but you can see that there's a really good player in there, in my opinion. Next up, my caramel Don, Mr. Lacazette. More of the same for me from him this pre-season. He's like a tin of Ron seal, isn't he? He just does what he says on the can or whatever it was. Am I right? He's just like that. You just get an all-action display from him pretty much every single week. He puts a shift in. He would definitely be one of my 5 captains this year. It amazes me that he gets overlooked. He seems such a good guy to be around. And yeah, I can see him having a big season this year, especially if Unai looks to go for playing over out wide. Then he's going to get a lot more minutes, and maybe then Eddie gets more minutes straight down the middle. So if we utilise that in Lacazette, yeah, he can definitely run a good number, and he's looked really solid for me. He's really shame with that injury, because he was just simmering nicely for me. I can only give him a 6 really for pre-season. That seems really tough, but I'm going to stick with that. But yeah, he's a player, obviously senior pro, that I do trust, and I hope we lean on a lot this year, because he'll do the business, because he's proved it all of his career. Big thumbs up for me. Next one, Bernd Leno, the German Wall. Similar comments to Lacazette really. He's one of my few senior pros that I would trust implicitly. Those are 2 of only 4 for me, 5. Yeah, I just think we'll get another massive season from him this year. He's looked really lively in pre-season, although which I'm happy about. Also, now Martinez has been given games. I think there's loads of reasons to be positive with him. Another year older, another year more experienced, settled in really well in the Premier League. It's his 2nd year, and that is his 2nd year with Emery. Hopefully we get some improvements in the back line. He deserved more clean sheets than he got last year, and from a defensive end, just for his own personal pride, we need to be backing him up, because he should have got 10 clean sheets for me at least last season, because he was unreal in so many games. He gets a 7 for me this pre-season, and he's goalkeeper. I said it the other week, that's a position I'm really looking forward to this year, and I've not been able to see that since Seaman was here. That was the last time I felt like that about a goalie. Kolasinac, Said, what's happened to him? The Bosnian tank, the Bosnian Hulk, whatever it was. I don't think I remember. I was thinking about it last night. I don't think I ever remember a player having such a sort of quick fall from grace. He'd not been here that long. When he first came in, everyone was like, "Oh yeah, this guy is a proper beast. He's ripped. This is exactly what we needed, but we're not getting bullied anymore." And it's just gone so downhill from there. And I was a big fan of him. German team of the season. Bundesliga team of the season. And there were some serious left backs in that league that year. Where is that player? It's a strange one for me. I don't know. I feel really sad if we're going to go back 4 this year, definitely. I think we can all come as a group consensus that the back 5 just doesn't work. We don't have the personnel for it. All the quality, experience in defence for me to pull it off. And it makes us lightweight up top, which was no good. But yeah, I'm getting away from the main point. But yeah, with him, I just don't know what it is. I'm struggling to now back him, and like I say, I was well in his corner, and now I feel like a player I'll talk to in a little bit, but that person is another signing, and we just get rid of both of our current left backs. It's and he's someone who came in for nothing, so you take his wages out of the equation that we paid him since he's been here. We're gonna make some money. You'd like to think he's got to be worth 20 million. I'd be very disappointed if we couldn't get that, and I think he'd do well in a really attacking league. I'm just not sure he's quite got the defensive quality I thought he might to pull it off in the Prem. So 6 out of 10 for me this pre-season. Eddie. Sorry guys, that was a really terrible Eddie Murphy impression that sort of turned into Frank Bruno. I apologise for that. My boy, Eddie, you guys know I love him, and I think there's another one, I think there's a really top player in here. Again, not sure if he'll ever be world class, but definitely better than average. I could easily see Eddie at the age of 24, 25 scoring 20 goals a year, definitely. And I'll be disappointed if he doesn't, to be honest. Whether that's at Arsenal or not, that's up to him. I'd love for it to be at Arsenal, but I think he'll keep progressing no matter where he goes. And he's been really lively for me this pre-season. He sort of started with a bang and then fizzled a little bit, but I think that was purely because of the level of opponent went up. And we're not going to be we're not in the Champions League this year, but we're not going to be throwing him in against sides like Barcelona this year. And teams, I'm guessing the games that he'll play in, there will be teams that will be seen as weaker than us, and in those sort of games I think he'll thrive. He's too high energy and really good in link-up play to not get himself involved in situations where then it will just be down to him to have the quality and the calmness of mind to just bag that chance. And I'm hoping for my man Eddie this year that he does it. I just think it's exciting, although I'm not a London lad myself, I love the idea of young, young Cockney lads, local lads from around the corner that, have idolised the club, and you walk past it daily and you look at the ground and, that's the sort of thing I always think of, if I'd have had that sort of opportunity as a kid, and you just marvel at it and you look at the pitch and you're like, wow, I want to play it. Yeah, I think he's been good pre-season, really good. I would definitely give him a 7.5, and it would have been an 8 if he'd have managed to bag in a big game that we've had at near the end of it. But I think there's a big season coming for him coming. I'm just not sure whether it'll be at the club or not. I'll be disappointed if it's not. But I think there's equal value in keeping him and loaning him out, because I do think that we've got some other people that could play that role that he did last year, where they might only get like 5 games up top or less, and that's not going to be enough for him this year. So maybe a loan is the way to go. Who knows? But he's had a good pre-season for me. Mr. Burton, little surprise package of this pre-season. Definitely was for me. He's not one that I thought would be involved at all. But I think obviously due to we've had a lot of players involved in stuff after the season that he got a chance to get involved with the first team, and I enjoyed him. My comments on him last year from watching some of the youth stuff, I said he was a sort of bit of a mix of Wilshere and Cazorla. A very diminutive little player, but don't let that fool you. It's a lot like Torreira. You look at him and you go, God, he's not. He's what? He's a defensive midfielder. Get go on, do one. But then once you play against him and you go, give us a break, pal. Just leave me alone for 5 minutes. Happy when half time comes in. Burton seems a lot like that. He seems. It's something that he looks like he's added a bit more to his game, of his ability to actually get stuck in. He uses his size well, like Torreira, that you don't have to be the hard man. You just have to get to the, to play that defensive role. You just have to get to the ball first, and then get away with it, still having it in your control, and whether that's through winning a free kick. Fair play. And he's someone I think for me could be our Willock in another sort of season or two's time, where he suddenly comes into pre-season. You go, whoa, hello, someone's come on leaps and bounds since the last time I seen you, and I think that'll be him. I'm definitely going to give him a 7 for this pre-season, because I think overall, those games we chucked him straight in and he swam for me. I could only think of a couple of times where he gave the ball away and it was very, sort of Xhaka-esque, and you're going, oh, that's right. But like I said with Guendouzi, these kids are much more likely to let him off with it, because they're stepping up massively, whereas that guy's at his level. Another one, 7 for me. Another nice little surprise package of pre-season. Mr. Cyrus Johnny Jules. Who my Johnny Jules? He's been one of my secret little favourites for quite a while of the younger brigade. I don't really tell people too much about the younger players that I fancy. That I always sort of keep it to myself, and I just sort of enjoy watching it without any outside interference. But he is one of my real big hopes. I'm sure he's probably still going a bit under the radar for quite a lot of people, but he's someone I've been watching for quite a bit, and I think he's got a huge future, a really huge future. One, because of his build and his physicality. It's something that stood out to me quite a while ago, that he's a unit of a kid. He's not a wardrobe of a lad, but he's very steadily built, and he's not one to just easily get shrugged. And the other thing is, that gets me excited about him, is that he's got that killer touch. He's got that little, like I've said, we've got a couple of those players now, youth players, where they have that real world-class footballing brain, and he, for me, is one that has it. I only think there's maybe 3 of them that I would say that we have currently at the club, and he's one of them for me, and he's someone I think I would like to see stay at the club this year in the first team squad and do what Eddie did last year, where dip back into the under-23s and then play, maybe the odd game for the first team, maybe, or just come on as an impact sub, up to 10 times. I would like to see that this year for him, and then I think next year it could be the world's our lobster. I'm not so sure, but I think it's just a matter of time with him, and he's not one I'd mind us sort of taking another 2, 3, 4 years over getting right, because I think he could be a really frightening attacking player. I might look stupid in 2 years' time saying this, and you'll all be laughing at me, but I don't think so. And he's someone who he's took his chances in pre-season, and then other games where he's had a chance to play, he's not actually ended up getting much of the ball, and it's been a bit of a shame. So I'm going to give him a 6, but sort of reason for my other scores where they're going down a point just because they've not featured as much. So that may seem a bit harsh, but it's just the way I've decided to do it for some strange reason. Skin-diddly, 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 diddly, diddly. Pass to Guendouzi on the left hand side. Pass to Guendouzi on the right hand side. He's gonna tackle, baby, jump and cross. But now we got him, we can rock and dance. Pass to Guendouzi on the left hand side. My boy, the Guendouzler, the Gwendo. You guys know I love this kid. There's just something about him that really makes me, I'm a smiley person anyway, but there's something about this kid, when I just look at him, I start grinning. Just like that picture the other day where he's sliding down that banister, and everyone else sort of looking and going, fucking hell, go up, mate. But then inwardly laughing, I wish I'd have done that. And I think he's a future captain, nailed on, and I do think this guy could go very close to the top. God, I've just loved his little cameos in this pre-season. I thought he'd be one that really wouldn't feature much, and he'd be given a decent break. And then he just sort of came straight back and it went boom, and it was like, wow, he's actually come on a bit more again. He just does, does he look like a 20-year-old midfielder? Just 20? No. I don't want to keep getting onto it, but he makes a certain senior pro to me look like a boy. I just love the way he struts around. He's got that perfect amount of cockiness where it's just before you start becoming obnoxious and a smug, and he's just under that, where it's just still funny, where it's like, yes, like I love your cockiness, it's just great. I love that confidence in yourself. He's someone I just can't wait to just keep watching. And he would definitely be a 7 for me, although he's not featured massively. When he has, he's been really impressive. If he can just get a little bit more positional sense. I'm sure a lot of you guys will be thinking he needs to sort out when he gets caught napping on the ball, but I think that's just something with age that will get ironed out of him, and then if it doesn't, it's a massive problem. But I think with age, that'll creep out of him. the more he gets used to this level of football. You know, you've got to remember that that was his first year last year of top level football, and he did pretty well for me. And I think he'll improve on that again this year and look a much more finished article. And I think in sort of 2 seasons' time, he could be right at the top of the game. You know, bold prediction maybe for some, maybe madness for others. Yeah, I don't see how that doesn't happen. I really don't. I think he's got so many qualities. You know, he's capable of just. He asks for the ball so much, which I absolutely adore about a player that plays in that position. You know, like a deep line playmaker or a box to box. He comes in, drops deep for it, and then he's happy to try and, you know, make a few yards up the pitch, beat a man, or spray it around, and that's qualities that, you know, some other certain players don't have, and it's such an asset, and it's what I think we need 2 of in our midfield to cope with the modern Premier League. Yeah, he's going to be a big part this year. Although I'd like to see him get less minutes, which might sound a bit random, but I think we've got more quality, and I think that we'll get more out of him by playing him less. You know, some of you probably won't understand that logic, but I know what I mean. You know, a raring to go Guendouzi for 20 games is better than playing on close to empty 40 game Guendouzi. So yeah, excited, really excited. You know, he's got to be worth 4, 5, 6 times what we paid for him already. Just a great all-round buy, type of player we needed. Looks like he could be, you know, anything he wants to be. And yeah, we're going to come out of it no matter what. You know, if he ever sees designs on going elsewhere, we're laughing, aren't we? So yeah, delighted. Next one. Nacho. Not a lot to say really. I'll just get this one out of the way quick. He's going to get a 5. Can't give him any more than that. And you know, I can't get past saying that any time he plays, we're going to get absolutely dry bummed down that side. There's no way that doesn't happen unless we play really average sides. He's not someone I could trust. He's not someone I've ever really trusted. Not someone I've ever really been a fan of. Yeah, he's one that I would really hope we try and move out once our window shuts. But you know, it depends on what happens with what we're trying to do at left back. You know, if we are completely, you know, all cards in on Turney and no one else, then maybe they look to do that deal for January and we go with the 2 left backs we've got, which will be disappointing, very disappointing. But you know, other things have happened and there is progress, so I'm not going to go too overboard with it. But yeah, 5 this pre-season, he's got the same problems for me that he's had for a while, and they're only going to keep getting worse and worse. Oh, someone's escaped. Another guy I'm a big fan of, Mr. Emi Martinez. I'm guessing from pre-season there'll be a lot of you that haven't been particularly won over by him, that just have gone, yeah, he just looks like an alright goalkeeper. Just wait. I hope he is our cup goalkeeper, and unlike Cech, I would want him to play in the final if he gets us there, because I don't think he's that massive of a downgrade on Leno where I thought Cech is. And yeah, and like I keep saying, goalkeeper's a position for me I'm going to really look forward to for the first time in a long time. I started to enjoy it last year, and I'm going to enjoy it even more this year. I'm sure of that with 2 of them there, him and Leno, and I would definitely give him a 7 for this pre-season. He looked really good to me. There was a couple of saves where he might have parried it out, not great, but he's another one. You know, he's here and he's learning, and we've just got to get behind him. I've seen people talking about sort of looking to sell him next year, and I don't really get that. You know, him and Leno are very similar age, so why we wouldn't just keep those 2 in sort of competition, you know, for the next sort of 3 to 5 years, and then nurture two really young goalkeepers. I don't know why we wouldn't look to do that. You know, he's someone who I think it's tricky to get a good backup goalkeeper that's not, you know, farting dust. It's a real tricky position to find somebody for, and I think he's someone who I think he would be delighted if we just did give him all the cup games. I think that'd be more than enough to keep him happy and keep him at the club. So that's what I hope we do. And I don't think he'll let us down. I think might be a mistake in him this year, don't get me wrong. I don't think he's going to be faultless, but I definitely think he'll put in way more good performances than he does bad. Like I said, 7 out of 10 for me. Next one. Oh, got another escape here. It's all happening very easily. Mr. Callum Chambers. I'm a fan. I know a lot of you guys, and we've got very similar comments on these. I know a lot of you guys aren't particularly a fan of him, but I've said, well, at the start of the window when people were like, "Oh, he's one player we'll get 20 million for. We won't even notice he's gone." And I was saying to you, he's going to be a massive part of our squad this year. I don't know what planet you're on, and now you've obviously coming round to what I was telling you, is that it's now that's obvious to you that he is going to be our utility man, because he's the only one we've got. It was obvious to me. It's just like slapping you straight in the face that's what he is. He could fill in at right back in the trickier games where we don't risk Ainsley there, but I don't know what that'd say to Ainsley's confidence, but you'd like to think he'd understand that it'd have to be mixed until Hector's back. And he's much better on the defensive end, just doesn't bring as much as Ainsley going forward. Centre defensive mid, he was Fulham's Player of the Year last year. That's in the Premier League. People are always going on about Premier League proven. If you got told it wasn't Callum Chambers and we were assigning a Premier League team's centre defensive midfielder of the season, you'd be buzzing. Just because it's Callum Chambers, people are like, nah, mate, he's rubbish, he's wanky, don't want him. He's not glamorous. There's nothing glamorous about the guy, but he's good looking and he's decent, and I'm a fan. For quite vain reasons to like him, but I just think he's another one. He just does what you expect of him, and that's all I can ask of players. And some people leave me wanting more and thinking, why haven't I had it? Whereas he's someone where I think he's given everything for me tonight. I can't complain. I think he's been a 7. I think he'll be our starting centre back along with Socrates. I don't mind that partnership. It's as good as it gets for us at the minute. I think it's going to be a big part of our side, and I think he's another one where, whether you like him or not, he is one that you're just going to have to get behind. And I think if you do get behind him, I think he'll repay your faith. I really do. He's had a couple of dodgy moments in pre-season, but they've been few and far between. People will say, well, there was a couple of bits in the Barcelona game where he just lost his head a little bit in the box, but that was 2 moments in however many minutes he's played. I've got no issues with him. Like I say, he's not going to be a worldie ever, but I do think he could be really good. I'm not going to say very good. This is my scale of good ranking that probably makes absolutely no sense to anybody, but I think he'll definitely be good enough, and hopefully we'll bring in another centre back, and then we've got him holding Socrates and a new centre back, and then we can sort of mix it up, and maybe he plays with Holding in the Europa League and the cup games, and that'd be tidy to watch. That was Callum. Mr. Dominic Thompson. This guy wins my special surprise player of the pre-season. I really didn't think we had a left back anywhere near being close to the first team, anywhere near it, and he's really come as like a sort of slap in the face bolt for the blue for me this pre-season. But like I say, I watched quite a bit of the youth stuff, and he's not someone that ever really stood out to me, and I've warmed to him, should I say, this pre-season, and then I watched him in a couple of the games and I'm going, maybe we do. Like I say, maybe we bring in Turney at Christmas and we go through the first part of the season with, the old guard. But then I thought, this is a kid who needs to go on loan this year, because I would love to see him be back up to, if he can back up this pre-season what he's shown, I'd love to see him as back up to somebody like Turney next season onwards, and then we can sell the other two. That's my dream scenario now. So he's another one that, along with John Jules, I'm going to be eyes on stems watching this season, with real intrigue to see how he gets on, and I'll be really interested to see what the club do with him as well, because I'm not sure he's one that I see value in him just staying in the under-23s, and while we've still got the other 2 left backs and possibly one coming in, I don't see him getting any go in the first team squad, so he's got to go out on loan for me. And he's been a 7 for me, definitely a real nice surprise, and like I say, he gets my special surprise of pre-season award, because I've really enjoyed him and I wasn't expecting it at all, and in a position that I think is incredibly weak. So thank you, Dominic, because I've really enjoyed watching you play, mate. Missed a loan signing, Danny Ceballos, yeah, I'm just having a conversation with somebody before, and the people keep talking about him as a number 10, you know, as a central attacking midfielder. I don't know where that's coming from. I've watched quite a lot of him, and he's definitely a deep line playmaker / centre defensive mid, or just centre mid. More box to box. The last thing I would say is he's a central attacking midfielder of all the different roles you want to call him in midfield, and I'm really excited. Like, you know, I'm not going to bullshit you guys, you know me, you watch me, you know, maybe you do watch me stuff, maybe you don't. I said I couldn't really understand this deal at first, and then the more I've sat and thought about it rather than ranted that I think it's a load of shit, and I've tried to look at it objectively, I think it's a really cracking deal, because I didn't instantly think of the impact of the competition. It sounds like he's, you know, there's a lot of murmurings that he's been guaranteed a lot of starts this year, a lot, and if that's the case, that delights me, because I know what my mental pecking order of our midfielder is, and you know, 3 doesn't go into 2, does it? You know, and I see Torreira being the one mainstay in midfield this year, when he's fit. Because we need a defensive element in our midfield, or we're fucked. So then it's who plays next to him for me, or for me there's going to be Torreira deep and 2 in front, and I would want one of those to be Ceballos. And he's looked lively for me. You know, I've mentioned him in my videos already. He's someone that I think could be quite a really dynamic midfielder, and maybe give us a season where we don't lean on Willett more than we should, because we've got overexcited. And Guendouzi, and we sort of spread those minutes out between the 3, and I think we'd get some really exceptional midfield performances. And I'm not quite giving up hope that we could sign him permanently, because I think a lot of people, although he said he wants to prove himself at Real Madrid, which is fair enough, he has, but that doesn't stop the element of that he might really enjoy himself this year and go, hang on, I know I want to achieve things here now. I'm really enjoying this group of players and this club and the ethics and all the rest of it, and you know, the lifestyle. So we'll have to see, and I think he's someone that we could do a reasonable deal on as well. So yeah, he's a real bright point for me. Obviously the downside is that injury, and it means he's going to be out, because I think he would have been in with a shout of starting some games in the first month, but he's not going to be now. 6.5 in pre-season. There's been glimpses, but he's not had anywhere near enough game time to really get any more than that. Mr. Gabriel Martinelli, first signing of the window, and what a signing. Very much, I think, the Guendouzi of this window, where we're going to look back at the end of the season and go, money, 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 money. We'll make bank on this kid for me, but you know, I hope that situation's a long, long way away, because he's right up my street type of player that I was. You know, I wasn't a winger, but I was a high energy player, up and down, you know, physical. Yeah, I really like him. I really like him, and I think, you know, I kept saying it, where he's one that I assumed would go out on loan at first, and I didn't think he'd be anywhere near the first team. And then, you know, in pre-season it looks like he's definitely going to be in and around the mix, and maybe he's been promised that he'll be in and around the mix. He's not somebody who I see starting games, but I think he could be a very good impact sub, and maybe get starts in the cup games. I'd much rather watch him on the wing than Mkhitaryan, definitely, and that might be getting carried away, but I would. And I think I'd leave watching matches way less disappointed, even if he wasn't up to par. I think he'd disappoint me less. But the way he goes about the game, I think he'll always play himself pretty much, unless he has a real off day where just nothing comes off for him. I think he'll always play himself into a decent, a 7 out of 10 rating every game. And he's looked really lively in pre-season. Really, his link-up play with Aubameyang in that, which I can't remember which game it was now, but he looked really, really sharp, really on the ball. And the difference for him is, where I might have underestimated the situation a little bit, is that although he's a youth player, and although he's been playing a low level in Brazilian fourth division, that's still a man's league, and that will be a kick the shit out of your man's league as well. I'm guessing the pitches probably aren't great over there, and the officiating probably, I'm not getting in a court battle with the FA or FIFA or whatever, but I bet the officiating's not great, and a lot goes unseen. And you've got to be a pretty tough player at that age to stand up in that sort of league for me, and he did. From what I've seen of him so far, he doesn't look like he's going to get bullied about. And I really like I said a couple of times now, that he looks as likely to win a tackle in our box as he is to put a cross in for a goal or be on the end of one in the opposition's box. So he gets an 8 out of 10 for me this pre-season. He's been a real surprise package. And like I say, all round signing scenario, I don't see how we don't come out winning with this kid. And maybe he's another one that gets a part of the Eddie role this year. If Eddie does go out on loan. There's Django. There we go. Mr. Mesut Ozil. Strange one this pre-season, We saw the Simon Phoenix / Slim Shady. Mesut hasn't had a twin babies. Mr. Mesut Ozil, when I saw that hairdo I thought, oh, here we go, and like I said with boots in the 90s when white boots came out, it's like, well mate, if you're wearing white boots you better be Pele, otherwise take those motherfuckers off and get back in the changing rooms. So when you go for that, 90s Romania side, peroxide blonde, Guinness head, you better be on it, and he was, and then he got saved by Kolasinac in a knife attack, and he just seems to have switched off a little bit again. I shouldn't laugh because it wasn't a funny incident, but don't mess with the boy, Kolasinac. Motherfucker, I come out and beat your ass. I shouldn't laugh, but he was great. What a guy. But Mesut, he just seems to, maybe that's just, I don't know, maybe it hasn't rattled him, maybe it has, maybe I'm giving him an easy excuse there, but he's dropped off a little bit. And he's a bit like Xhaka for me, where he's got a bit too slow getting the play moving. He's taking a bit too long. We know he's got the talent to just first touch it wherever he wants. I think he's just someone that's got to get up to pace. And I do think he'll get used more this year. He's another one for me. He's got no excuses this year. If we've got Martinelli, Nelson, and Nketiah, John Jules, Iwobi, Mkhitaryan, Pepe, Laka, Oba, it's like, mate, you've got no, and then behind him we've got Willock, Guendouzi, Ceballos, Torreira, he's got no excuses for not having a big season this year, and I think he has to, or I don't see how anyone stays in his corner after that if he doesn't, so fingers crossed for me, but he's not someone that's crossed the line yet where he's at the point of no return like some others. He could easily get everybody back on side, because everybody loves Mesut Ozil when he's playing like Mesut Ozil. But like I said the other day, we might play games where we play too deep and him at the tip of a free in midfield. And if we do that to cater for him, we need him to be an 8 out of 10 or better. Because if not, then we've just got one weak midfielder out of our free in midfield, along with one other, if it's who I think it will be, another weak link. And then we've just got one midfielder in midfield, and that's why we get overrun. It's why our defence gets no help. And it's why we get bummed by average teams that suss us out too easily. So he's a big vital player for me this year, especially if he gets starts. He's going to have to pull his finger out, and if he doesn't, then he needs to leave, because this is it for me with him this year, definitely. The last couple of seasons have been very disappointing on a whole, and he's got to sort it out. he gets a 6 for me this pre-season. He started off as an 8 and then dropped to a 5 for the last couple of games, so 6.5. I'll go right in the middle. Next one, the big Greek brute, the hummus muncher. He's another one where like him, love him, unsure, get behind him because he's going to be our leader at the back this year. No two ways about it. He's going to play every minute that's physically possible. You know, he's got to cut out these silly little yellow cards, but maybe it's just a part of the way he goes about the game. You just have to accept it. But he's someone we can't afford, especially up to Christmas, if we don't bring in another centre back to get himself, you know, totting up yellow cards and then get suspended for a few games, because we'd really miss him. And I just think he's super solid, and he's another one like Lacazette where he'd definitely be one of my captains. I don't understand why he's not in with a shout. He captains the national side, he leads our defence. You know, he's always the one that's communicating to the young guys around him. I notice he does it a lot with Ainsley, where he's shouting at him and he's telling him, hold this line, step out here, make sure you're there, watching man. He's always on him, giving him good advice. You know, and I do think he is, you know, a leader amongst, you know, a man amongst a lot of boys in our squad. And he's been a 7 for me this pre-season, definitely. I think our defence has been quite solid. I mean, yeah, we've let in goals, but not when it's been our best partnership, and not when that'll be the back line that we'll actually have going into the season. When you just put it each player at a time, he's been good. So yeah, he gets a 7 out of 10 for me. Next one, Mr. Olayinka. He's another one of my boys, guys. He's another one for me that I think he's our Vieira / Diaby in waiting. Our Torre, you know, our type of Paul Pogba, if you want to keep getting more and more modern footballer. But we definitely are Vieira, Diaby, fuck the other two I mentioned. Yeah, I think he's one that again I've had a little secret eye on, going, this is the player I've been crying out for. It's just not going to happen in the first team quick enough for me, and then sort of other things have emerged now that I didn't foresee. But I was just looking internally at what we had, and I was going, in 2 or 3 years, this kid for me, I think will be a big part of our first team. And I'm not going to back down from that, because I was really impressed with him in pre-season. And that partnership, you know, say what you want about the quality of games, but that stood up, that partnership of Olayinka and Burton, and I like that big man, little man combo. You know, like Vieira next to Cazorla. You know, imagine that, it would have been tidy. And that's what I sort of a nostalgic look back when I was watching him play. And I really like his style of game. Like, he is exactly the type of player I was. Probably, yeah, he's definitely a damn sight better. But yeah, he's one that I think, you know, it's too early for him now, and he's another one that I don't really see being any part of the first team. But he is someone, again, that I don't think I want to see go back into the youth setup. I don't ever see him getting called onto the first team squad this year, so I would like to see him go out on a decent loan move and then see where he's at the end of next year. But his pre-season for me was a 7. I thought he was really, really good, and that was a really enjoyable bit of pre-season, was that young, you know, that's like sort of nucleus of young players that Unai trusted. Really enjoyed it. He had to come out at some point, didn't he? My best mate. Granite between the ears, Xhaka. Gets a 5 this pre-season for me. Yeah, I know some of you are going to go, oh, it's just your agenda, you hate him. And I keep saying I don't hate him, I just don't think he's good enough for Arsenal Football Club. You know, and like I said, don't mess with the things I love, because I don't react nicely. And this guy, I'm just so done with him. You know, we've had some glimpses. I thought it was going to sort of take another maybe 3 years to get this guy out of the club, and I'm just in it for the long haul. And you know, it feels really sad, but he's someone that I can't stand to watch. He just fills me with rage the minute I see him on the pitch. It's really pathetic, but it's just exactly how I feel, I want to be honest. Yeah, I sort of wish I could put something over him while the game's on, so I just don't have to watch him, or it cuts off while he gets the ball and then it comes back on when he's got let go of it again. I just don't get the guy anymore. I don't. And like I say, I look back at my tweets when we signed him, and I said when we signed him it was a mistake. And I found a massive argument I had with a guy about it, and he was saying, oh, he's one of the best midfielders in the world. And I was like, mate, he's not even one of the best midfielders in the league he's in now. And I said he was bang average. And I think it'd be a poor signing, and I'm just glad I've sort of not wavered really. Well, no, I'm not glad, because I would have liked if it didn't turn out to be brilliant, and I take my words, because I'd always want a better player at Arsenal than I think we've got. But there's just something about him now that I can't go back on. I just can't. He was like the kid who used to play David Platt in Coronation Street. I just couldn't stand to look at the guy, and there's just something about his face that filled me with rage, and I don't even watch Coronation Street. And he's the same for me. I just can't. His face just makes my piss boil. You know, he might think the same about me, but you know, I don't get paid, you know, 100 grand a week for him to watch me, so I get an opinion and he doesn't, as far as I'm concerned. And I just see more disappointment this year. I do, and he's very much like my comments on Ozil. I know he's got a few fanboys that are weird. Not because they're his fanboys, they just seem to be odd characters that, you know, I don't want to get into that, but yeah, I think now with the options we've got so soon, like I said, I didn't think we'd have this many midfield options this quick. But you know, the emergence of Willock, Guendouzi, Ceballos on loan, which I didn't see happening. And then, you know, some of those, like I say, Burton and Olayinka in the wings further down the line. I don't see how he keeps his side. He's spotting the side. He's done nothing this pre-season for me to warrant being a starter, apart from he's been here all pre-season pretty much. But I would much rather see a midfield three where it's Torreira at the base and Ceballos and Guendouzi, or Ceballos and Ozil, or Ceballos and Iwobi, or Ceballos and Willock, Ceballos, Guendouzi, you know, or Guendouzi, Willock, you know, or any of the combination of those sets of two players. But all of those, my favourite midfielders this year, will not involve Granit Xhaka. And yeah, I just think he's going to make me more angry again this year. I don't want to be like this, but he gets a 5 for me for pre-season, and I think he'll be a 3 this season. And he's one who I think he won't survive if he doesn't pull his finger out this year. And maybe it's not so much about pulling his finger out. I just don't think he has the weapons in his arsenal to become the player we need him to. I don't think he suits the Premier League at all. I've said that from day one. He's too immobile for it, and he's not smart enough to get away with being immobile. Not even close. You know, you look at, I always think Mertesacker, although he's a centre-back, he was a very good reference point for players that lose the legs or don't have them, but then learn to read the game. Where rather than chasing the man, you don't have to chase the man, you just have to cut out the ball that goes to him. And Mertesacker was a master at that when his legs went. And that's something Xhaka should have learned, because he's never had any legs. And he's not learning. You know, as soon as we lose the ball, you might as well just completely discard him from everything, because you'll just see him, you know, galloping painlessly and painfully through the midfield at, you know, 1 knot an hour. It's just, honestly, I've watched concrete set faster. It's just frightening. Yeah, 5 out of 10. Let's get off him, because I'm feeling really depressed now. I was happy. Yeah. Oh god, it's not going to get any better. Mickey, Mr. Mkhitaryan. Yeah, 5, and he's lucky. You know, it's like I said in my video the other day. What is it he does well? What is it he gets picked for? Because I'm struggling to see one really good attribute of his game at the moment. It's not his passing, because that's all over the place. It's not his movement. His energy is still decent, but what's the point in, you know, you want to run clever, not just run a lot. You know, work smart, not fast, and all that. Well, he's the antichrist of that. You know, he's just running around a lot, and there's just absolutely no point to his play. And he's killed so many good counter-attacking moves this pre-season, where we've ripped the shit out of people on counter-attack, where we've just blew them away, and then it's gone to Mkhitaryan and he's just completely fucked it up, and he's like, for fuck's sake. And that's when my frustration creeps in, and I'm like, just get Martinelli on, just get Saka on, just get Nelson on, just let me watch one of them kids make them mistakes where at least they're trying to do a trick or beat a man, not just falling over themselves. 5 out of 10, and he's someone that I would prayed he wouldn't still be here at this point. you know, there's still ages left in the foreign window, so hopefully he's someone who doesn't end up here. If he does stay in and around the side, I hope he moves to 10. You know, if Ozil starts getting sloppy, we throw Mickey in there, because I just don't want to see him on the wing anymore. It's painful. He's not capable of it at all. Yeah, that's him. Mr. Saka. Bukayo. Bukayo Saka. I just love saying his name. Bukayo. Little Don. He's one for me I can't work out this pre-season if he's going to stay in and around the first team squad or not. He's only 17. Maybe another year of under 23s is what he needs, and then we just keep him there. You know, if we get desperate up top, we could just bring him into the fold for games and into the squad, and he'd probably be a good impact substitute. You know, in maybe 4 or 5 appearances he'd get. Yeah, and he's not in my little list of favourites, but he looks like he could be a really brilliant player as well. You know, it's hard not to sound like a dick saying this about so many young players, but I do think we've got he's going to say it, he's going to say the dreaded golden generation. But I do. I don't really think we've ever had one before. I think this is our first one. You know, since the Wenger reign. Because I do think there's 4 at least of these kids that will turn out to go near to top of the game, and they're ones from in the academy, not ones that we've brought in. You know, you could maybe add Martinelli and Guendouzi to that. Yeah, he's really pleased me in pre-season. Still looks a little bit lightweight, but he looks like he's got the brains to do damage, and I love the way he reads pressure. I've noticed that's a real strong asset in his game, where when the ball's coming to him, he knows whether someone's up his arse or not. So he's always got that one step ahead, little flick, shimmy, run. And he's someone you know, that I will be having and keeping an eye on again this year. Although I don't see him being much part of the first team squad. He definitely gets he gets a 7 for me this pre-season, definitely. Bum 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 bum. Sorry guys. Mr. Joe Willock. Player of pre-season for me, I think. Yeah. No, he's not. He's level. But wow, what an impressive pre-season this kid's had, and he's definitely going into the first team squad. There's no two shits about that this year. You know, he's in a position that we could definitely do with reinforcements, where we looked incredibly weak, and all of a sudden I look at it and I go, not bad. Yeah, I'm really excited to watch a lot of Joe Willock this year. You know, you guys know in my video, like this time last year, I was like, whoa, he looks a mile off it. Doesn't look like he's any time soon he's going to be ready to be in the first team. And I love the fact that I feel a bit of a dick now watching him this pre-season, and I've just gone, don't know what your mum's been feeding you, mate, but send me the recipe, because shit, this kid's filled out. Just looks more composed. You know, he's obviously gained from just being in and around the first team squad last year. I thought we missed a trick not loaning him out, and then I'm watching this pre-season and I go, this is why I'm not a coach at Arsenal. And they are. Well done, because yeah, he looks like he's had a real year, where he's one now for me that where you look and go, could be anything. Well, world's his lobster. You know, I saw a bit of an interesting thing about Bayern Munich being interested today. Maybe they could be, but that sounds to me like someone's had a good pre-season and his agent's making us pay for it. And fair enough. You know, I'm sure there's somebody out there right now that would pay him double what we're paying him currently. So yeah, fair play. You know, it's a short career. That's the way the world works. And pay the kid the money. You know, I'm sure it wouldn't kill us for what they'd want. So you know, whether it's 30, 40 grand a week, get it paid. Yeah, really exciting, and he's been brilliant this pre-season for me. All action displays, never took a minute. You know, never had a minute's downtime. Yeah, he gets a 9 out of 10 for this pre-season for me. Fabulous. total surprise, total surprise. And yeah, absolutely delighted, because he's another one that stacks up my get Xhaka out the first team and movement. So yeah, absolutely delighted in a sadistic way. Yeah, can't wait to watch more of him. He's had a class pre-season. Aubameyang, 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 Aubameyang. He's also my joint man of pre-season. He's been electric. Another one, don't know what he's been eating, don't know what he's been doing, but yowzers in your trousers, man, the guy's flying. Massive season incoming again. I don't see how he doesn't sort of replicate what he did last year, really. Yeah, he just looked really full of energy. I think there was quite a lot in this. I said it the other night. This nasal problem that he had towards the end of last year. Sorry, just after Christmas time, and people were laughing and like, oh, he's got a blocked nose or whatever. It's just odd for me that I was commenting a lot about he does look really lacklustre, and when he was trying to knock the ball past somebody, he didn't really have the legs, and I'm like, hey, this is a Aubameyang, man, why can't he beat Johnny Evans in a foot race? And then sort of he went for that surgery or whatever it was, where they cleared his nasal part. I don't know exactly what the surgery was, but towards the end of last year and then this pre-season, he looks like a different beast. He looks like Borussia Dortmund, Aubameyang, and yeah, someone that's, it's a shame he's not 27, but he doesn't look like he's, it sounds ridiculous saying he doesn't look 30, but in football in terms, that's getting on for being an old man, isn't it? Yeah, if he can keep up the way he's gone for another 2 years, that'd be awesome, because it's 2 more than I thought we'd get. Yeah, delighted with him for that, absolutely electric, all action displays, same as Willock, and that's why he gets a 9 out of 10 for me as well, and somebody who I really can't wait to watch more of this year, and I think possibly he might improve a bit more. The big lad, Mr. Zesh Medley. Really disappointed me in pre-season, and I feel bad for him because of what's happened with the whole Koscielny situation, and the news that came out, whether you rate Ornstein or not, you guys know I don't, but his comments that came out about, we've basically been trying to sell him since the day we signed him, and this after the Europa League final, Emery made his mind up, fucking get rid, I don't want to see him ever again, but then he's lent on him in pre-season, but I think that's because he's had to, but I thought it was interesting that he gave Medley minutes, and I think it's a shame he didn't grasp it with 2 hands, because I think he could have got himself into the first team squad this year, and he's disappointed, and I don't think he has. But he's someone that I think at his age now, at 19, he needs to go on loan. No good him in the under 23s. When you look at what we've just paid for Saliba, who's younger than him, that's the level we need him to be at, and he's clearly not. He's someone that maybe could be. I thought it was really interesting when I heard, I've noticed he's an absolute wardrobe of a kid for ages, but I thought it was interesting when I think it was Clive mentioned it on the Arsenal Vision podcast that he's grown 6 inches in the last year, and his comments were so on the money for me. Is that he's not actually acclimatised to his own growth yet, and he's like Bambi on ice. He's like a baby giraffe, isn't he? That's exactly what he looks. That's my phrase. I think Clive said like a Bambi on ice, but for me, he's like a baby giraffe who's just all gangly limbs. He's just not quite sure what's happening. But a lot of you want a lefty centre back and a big physical, athletic one. Well, he is that. So let's see. But he's had a disappointing pre-season, and as much as I like him, I'm not gonna show any favouritism. He was a 5. Sad but true. Last but not least, Skodran and Mustafi. I don't want to be ruthless, because I don't think he's actually had a horrific pre-season. Because there's been parts of it where I thought that was a top header, that was a really good challenge. So I'm not gonna, like I say, I don't have agendas, guy. I know some of you think I do, but I don't. I'll hold my hands up when I think someone's done all right. You should have had enough evidence of that with my comments on Czech last year. I said he was dog shit goalkeeper, but when he played all right, I said he's all right. And I'll do the same with Mustafi. Don't hate him. I just don't think he's good enough. That's not a reason to hate him. It's just been odd that the few times he's come on, it's when we've looked our worst at the back, and it's madness for me. But it's exactly how it is, and he's got to go. I don't understand how we've not moved on a centre back yet and got rid of him, seeing as we've made it common knowledge. A lot of you, like I say, with Ornstein, say that his stuff comes from the club. Well, if it still comes from the club, somebody at the club told him that nobody wants this guy at the club anymore. So how is he still part of it? How, for his own sake, is he still there, if that's common knowledge and coming from a real trustworthy source? Says a lot for me. Says a real lot. And I don't want to hate him and him to get hounded out. A lot like Wenger, I just want him to leave of his own volition quick, and go and resurrect his career somewhere, because I think he could do really well somewhere else. I didn't rate Gabriel Paulista for similar reasons, but he can go on. He's gone on, and will go on and be okay somewhere. Spain, Italy, whatever. And I think Mustafi will do the same. I do. He's just not. He's not what we need. We need much more clever switched on centre backs ourselves. We can't get away with having a sort of bimbo centre back. We can't. We need people who are switched on, and he never is for me. 5 because I don't want to be cruel. I don't want to hound him out. Like I say, there was some parts of games where I thought he was alright, but yeah, he's a 5. He's got to go, and I think he will. I want to cut my hair. I want to have a shave. I don't. This is going to sound weird. I'm happy to give money to charity, but I don't really want to give 250 quid to charity when the foreign windows end, just so I can have a shave and a haircut. This is getting ridiculous now, guys. I can't live like this any longer. And this is going to start turning super ginger if it starts getting any longer. So please, come on, let's get him out the door for my sake, if anything, and everyone else's mental health for this year. And his own as well. It's got to happen, and I think it will. I think we'll desperately now try and get a centre back in before the window shuts, and then we'll let him go, and we'll try and roll with the new centre back, Chambers, and Socrates until Holding's fully back. I do truly believe that's what we'll do. Fingers crossed it happened. So that's everyone that's took part, guys. I know it's been fairly long, but I didn't want to just go, he's been mint 6, he's been shit 3. I didn't want to do it that. I did want to give a bit of info, so I'm sorry it's gone a little bit long, but I had to do a minute or 2 on each person. Just a quick one on people that haven't took part in pre-season. Torreira, Iwobi, Pepe, they're going to be big parts of our first team squad, so you've got that to look forward to, yeah. And then, other people that haven't took any part but are part of the squad. Mavro, very similar to Medley for me. He's missed a massive opportunity not being fit this pre-season, because he could have stepped in and made it really easy for Unai to not care about Koscielny and Mustafi going. And that's he's another factor for me why I think it's made this decision tricky. Bellerin, he's going to be a first team when he comes back, and it'll make a massive difference. He's not infallible at right back, but he's a lot more trustworthy than Ainsley is. As much as you guys know, I love Ainsley, so I don't say that lightly. Holding, obviously, a lot of you guys think he's the next Maldini. Good old Holdini. I'm not that convinced. I think he's just a bit better than Chambers, but that's not a bad thing, because I think Callum Chambers can be pretty bloody good. So I think they're both sort of, if 10's world class, they could both be 7 or 8s. I don't see either becoming 10s or 9s. But I'd be delighted to be proven wrong. I'm sure this is going to get me some shit from the Holding lovers. I've just not seen as much of what everyone else seems to think they've seen, and his strong points are football rather than defending. That's not what I really wanted to see in a first team centre back. Saying that Socrates is our other. I'd want to see somebody really athletic that just reads the game well. fast and can put a tackle in rather than someone that's good at football. But we'll see. And he's, like I say, I'll be delighted when he's back, because he'll only make us a stronger side, definitely. And then last but not least in that one, Emile Smith-Rowe. Just not quite sure what's going on with him. Not really seen anything, heard anything. Real shame, real shame, because he is one on my list of, when I said the ones that have got that real high level football intelligence, he's one of them. He's got a real old head on his shoulders, and he for me would be the one I'd be looking towards. Hopefully, like I say, I'd like to go with a centre defensive mid and 2 sort of box to boxes above it, and in 2 or 3 years time I would definitely want one of those to be Emile Smith-Rowe, because I think he's got the talent for it, definitely. And it's been a real shame that he's played no part, but hopefully he gets back to full fitness. If he's not, like I say, I've got really no info in him at the moment, but all the best to him, because he's someone I've got a lot of time for. Other things from this pre-season, Unai, he's been a 7 out of 10 for me. He gets an extra point because he's gone away from that 5 at the back, which that probably got him pretty much all of this score. It's not rocket science, but he's done it, so you've got to give him credit for that. It's again, he's a tricky one for me, because I can't tell, a bit like last year where I stuck up for him and I said I can't tell how much stuff going on is hand forced. Like people were saying last year about in the Europa League, well, he should have played the kids in the earlier rounds. Yeah, and like I said, yeah, but what happens if we'd have gone out? You'd have wanted him out. You'd have gone, why is he trusting the kids? The dick, we're out of the Europa League now, right? We've got to get top 4 to get back in the Champions League. So you can't have it both ways. So that's why I don't think he played the kids in that. Like I said, that's why he kept trusting the same players, because it's like when England managers do it and it's just, well, play Lampard and Gerrard and then you can't get blamed, you know what I mean? Play all the main names and then you can't get any shit, and that's not the way to do it. You should go off your own personality and style of management. And I don't want him to drift into that category, and I feel like he is doing it at the moment, and not through choice. But that might be me bigging him up more than he deserves, and he might actually just like these players. If he honestly believes Xhaka is captain material and should be our captain in the first team, and then just get Emery out, that's how I stand. I'd be embarrassed if they're his actual thoughts, and I'll go empty-head. Unai, empty-head Emery. I'll lose all respect for him, really. That's really strong. I'm sure some of you think that, but that's just where I'm at to a point with that guy. I can't. I say the same to you guys on Twitter. Anyone that sticks up for him with me, I pity you. I want to laugh hard in your face. And you might look at me and go, laugh the same, and I go, well, yeah, but how are you laughing when you're getting to watch Granit Xhaka every week and backing him? I just don't get it. I'm not going to get onto that one, but yeah, Unai's been a 7. Like I say, I don't think we're going to be able to judge him till Christmas, really. Bellerin back, Holding back, maybe Turney if that's when he comes in. It's going to be unfair to judge him this first month of the season, and I don't think it's going to go particularly well. I hope it will, but I think if you look at last season, and we had a tough time the first 2 games, didn't we? And I think we could have a similar start to this season, where I think we might not have the personnel we need to get a result out of Liverpool and Spurs this early in the season. But then when it comes around later in the season, we will get our vengeance and we'll level the scores. That didn't go against us this last season, did it? Because we were still only 1 point off top 4. So I don't think we should all be losing our heads if we don't come out with more than 3 or 4 points from the first 4 games. I think we should again treat this season a bit of a write-off and then let it just build, and it'll culminate near the end for me. Ruminate. Let's just keep a bit of faith, at least for the first month or 2 of the season. The board pre-season, it's been a 10 out of 10, but for a different reason for me. It's a 9 out of 10 for incomings. On the types of signings we're bringing in, but it's a 1 out of 10 for the outs, so in total it's a 10 out of 10. Somebody said to me the other day, what do you class this window as? And I said a 6 or a 7, and someone was like, fuck off, that's way harsh. And I was like, No, because you're just looking at what's come in. You know, but we're not being run any better if we can't get players out, because then we're still going to end up with a massive wage bill, and then we haven't got room to get in better players again. That's been a big issue for the club for years, so that's why I don't rate it that highly. But if we now, before Thursday tea time, go out and get a centre-back and possibly a left-back, I would be leaning much more towards, right this minute, as much as I want Turney, putting that deal to one side, and go and getting a centre-back instead, and then trying to do a deal now for where Turney joins at Christmas. Yeah, that's my thoughts. So if we go out and get a centre-back now, you know, when you look at Martinelli, Pepe, Ceballos on loan, Saliba, you've got to say that's an 8 out of 10 for incomings, definitely. And you know, that phrase of, you know, Wenger used to always say, oh, there's not players of the right amount of quality for us to bother going out and getting there. Well, that wasn't true. We all know that's not true. These guys have said that, but then gone and identified that player, and then gone and actually got that player. You know, those 3 deals, you know, Martinelli, I think we just got the jump on that one, and we struck at the right time, whereas the other 3 in Saliba especially, and Pepe, but mainly Saliba, that was very clever from the guys in the back room, along with Pepe, very clever. Same as getting Ceballos on loan. I think they're way more clever signings than people realise, because of the way the deals have been done, the way we've gone about them, the way they've been structured, the way we've played the media this window. I think it's been class. And I'm really impressed, because like I said to you guys when Emery came in and all the changes started happening, I said 2-3 seasons it's going to take to sort this shit show out of poor coaching, you know, and shit personnel in the squad, and you know, we went a long way to starting that ball rolling last year. You know, Leno, improvement, Torreira, improvement, Socrates, improvement, Lichy, alright, we didn't get it right, Guendouzi, could be anything. Great signings, and then you look at this window again, you know, Martinelli looking like a great signing, Pep, he's definitely going to be a great signing, Ceballos could only be for this year, but will be a very good signing because he's got so much to prove him this year, and then Saliba, good, massive improvement. So the type of deals they're doing are incredible, in my opinion, really impressive, way more than I expected, but then maybe that was down to me, and you know, being a little bit negative. I told a lot of you guys that listened that we were going to do some damage this window and we'd spend in total over more than 100 million, and we've done it, and I don't think we're even close to finish yet, so it's going to be interesting. And like I've said a few times to people that are losing their heads over saying, yeah, but we've only got till Thursday to do this, we've only got till Thursday tea time to bring players in, then we've got like another month to get all the ones out we want out, so just worry about the ins for the minute. That's all you should be worrying about. Forget the outs. So yeah, those guys, they're, like I say, for me they're an 8 or 9 out of 10 for the work they're doing on the incomings, and a 1 out of 10 for the outgoings, but that could easily go right up. And like I say, if we bring in a centre back and a left back as well, it'll go 8, 9, 10 for me incomings, and like I say, that one will go up quite a lot if we get out, you know, possibly Mkhitaryan, Mustafi, and one Nacho or Kolasinac. That'd go up to a 10 for me. Well, no, it'd go up to a 6, and then no, it'd go up to a 4. I'll go 1 point each for each of them, but then it goes up to a 4. If we got rid of Xhaka, it goes up to a 44. I had to squeeze a bit of bitterness in there at the end. And another one thing that I just wanted to mention about Unai, that I forgot, that, you know, when I said about the back 5 going, it looks very much like he's going to play this 4-2-3-1, 4-1-2-3, or a flat 4-4-2, and hallelujah, praise the Lord, praise Unai, because that's the way to go for me, and I think we will be a much better side this year for it, a much better side, considering the personnel that have come in. I think we've got to look for improvement this year on what happened last year, I really do. I just think it might take us a bit longer this season to hit our stride, but then once we get in the personnel that we want and it clicks, hold on to your hats, people, because this train's pulling out the station, Raider nuts. yeah, it's going to be exciting, I think. Like I say, if we could get in, you know, I don't want to talk too much about transfers, but you guys know I've been saying that Upamecano would be my dream young centre back. I never mentioned it because I never thought we'd ever get the chance to get him. Suddenly these noises about him are knocking about. If we go and get him, yeah, it goes to a 15 out of 10 because he's about as good as it gets now on the market as far as young centre backs go. He's someone I've watched a lot of, and although I said in my stuff about the under 20, the Toulon tournament stuff that I watched, and I did some videos, and I said that for me Canate looked the better out of the two in that last season. It was definitely Upamecano in the domestic stuff. Yeah, I don't believe these numbers. I don't think he'd cost us 80 million. I think he's somebody that with maybe giving them a player or giving them a player on loan, I think we could do for around 60. I'd be surprised if we'd pay more, or we get asked to pay more than 60. I think they'd value him around 60. You know, it's not often huge money's paid to German clubs, and they're pretty realistic because everything around their model of their game is realistic. You know, ticket prices, all the rest of it. So they don't destroy people for a price. You know, if you come to them and say I'll give you 80 million for him, then they don't go, oh no, that's crazy money, just give me 40. They don't do that. Don't know what that accent I was just doing was. Yeah, they don't sort of do that, but they don't also, you go for a £40 million player and they say, well, 80 or nothing. They're reasonable, most German clubs. So I think a deal could be struck there, and he's someone that, and you know he's good mates with, you know, we're getting that French contingency again, you know, post Wenger, which is interesting. He's a big mate of Guendouzi's, and I'm sure he'd be delighted to be in the same setup as somebody like Lacazette, definitely. And I think Cos could have been a pretty good pull for getting him in if he was still at the club. You know, I don't want to talk too much about that because that's for another video, but you know, being with the French national captain, centre back, could have been a big pull. But I think we've got enough clout to get this one to happen, and I hope it does. It's over, guys. It's over. Fair play if you're still there. Fair play. That's it. That's pre-season. Talked about. Done. Bosh. Boom. Booyah. Cut. Finito. End of. Let's call it a day, guys. Hope you've enjoyed. Like I say, if you want to watch it, my video was up of the Barca rating one, and I'll be doing another one tomorrow, and a catch up of everything that's going on in and around the club, away from off the pitch. And I might also look to do a little live one for the last hour of when the window's open on Thursday. I'm going to have a think about that one, but if you're interested, guys, let me know, because that's something I would love to do, definitely. You know, I'll sit here with Sky Sports News and we'll talk about what deals are happening, and you know, we'll count down the hour with Arsenal and see if anything happens. Maybe I'm just incredibly sad. You know, when Raul was asked about that, he laughed and he went, you English, you have a Delante where you all sit up all day drinking beer and watching the transfer news, you fucking mad. I am out here with a gauntlet of fire doing crazy deals, you fucking mentalists. Yeah. I'm going, guys. It's too late. It's been a long day. Signing out. Take it easy. Come on, you Gunners.